Yeah.
for a hit of heroin, he's got something extremely bad happened in his life and he's burying that emotion. I mean, he can't deal with it, so he wants to bury it. Or there was something in his life that he never wants to relive. And as long as he's high, drunk, whatever, he doesn't have to think about that, or she or he.
Yeah.
But with somebody who has different, and I hate the term ADHD. I don't like the title because I don't think when you say ADHD, you're saying you have a a mental disorder. So take the ADHD out of it and just say just the wiring is different than most people. So for me personally, when I was using, I wasn't using to bury anything. I think back through my entire life and I try to think what happened in my life that made me an addict. And there was nothing. There was nothing. My dad was kind of a dick.
Yeah.
You know, he physically abused me a little bit, but you know, nothing outside of a spanking or he dragged my ass clear through from my bedroom to the garage, which was probably a good 100 feet by an ear and a handful of hair. But that seemed, it never affected my sister and my brother as much as it affected me.
Yeah.
Because when I was younger, I remember being very intrigued in everything, but there was nobody there to like kind of answer all these questions I had about how everything worked in the world at a very young age. So as I got older, I had nobody directing me towards like, hey, you know, you seem to be curious about everything. Let's take that curiosity and direct it towards something that will benefit you in the future. I didn't have that. I just had stay the fuck out of my tools, you know, quit tearing shit apart. You
Yeah.
know, no, you're too stupid to do that. College is a waste of time. I was talked out of everything. So when I got older and life got real, like I started having like serious responsibilities, that's the first time I realized this is a motherfucker. I can't get through this. And so I started using things that basically made me whatever normal is. You know what I mean? It made doing the dishes, going to the same job every day, going to baseball games with my kids, and those are things I should be excited about. And and you feel so shitty about yourself when you're stone sober for years, and you can't find excitement in going and watching your kids play a ball game. It's like this. Oh, it's like pulling teeth. You'd rather go. You'd sit in a dentist chair and have your fucking wisdom teeth pulled out versus go watch an hour long t-ball game. And that makes you feel like a really shitty person. So I think there's a lot of people out there that end up using just to numb that feeling like a cocksucker. Because you feel like shit. You're a parent, you love your kids to death, you do anything for them except support them in these things that you don't find any interest in. And so you start to use substances, whatever, if it's nicotine, caffeine, opiates, alcohol. It numbs that. It numbs that feeling of I can't get through this. I can't get through another fucking Christmas parade thing with my kids, you know. And you are okay with it. You're like, yeah, that sounds fun. Let's go do that. And so more than anything, it just normalizes you to the rest of everybody. And for the longest time, not until I got sober did I realize that my wiring was this way. Because everything I read, everything I'd gone through, said it could take up to a year for your shit to balance out. We talked about that earlier in the truck.
Yeah.
And a year goes by, I'm still not happy watching my kids hit a home run. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. That's my kid. But it wasn't like a real joy like you see other parents, you know, they're just gung-ho about all this stuff. So at 2 years, 3 years, 4 years go by, nothing gets better, you know?
Yeah.
And then you start struggling with, am I just a cocksucker? I'm a piece of shit. And then I finally came to the point where it's either I consistently use my whole life just to make the people around me happy with my actions, or do I change my environment? And that's what I started to do. And it helped a lot. But now the downtime is like, it's like an invisible prison. Like when I like, if I wasn't doing this right now, I would be fucking miserable. I sit here with all this energy inside, but with nowhere to put it. So it's, I mean, imagine being jacked, you know, like mentally, you're going 1,000 miles an hour, yet you can't move your body to go out and do any of these things that you want to do. And then at the same time, you're letting your entire family down because you're not doing the things the wife finds interesting. You know, she wants to talk about people, and you think that's a complete waste of time. You're like, you can't listen to other people talk because it seems so pointless. But when every once in a while you run across somebody that's wired like you, and you hit it off because they're talking about things that seem to matter to you, and then it's kind of like this self-hate. You begin to hate yourself so much because you can't be there for the people that mean the most to you because your wiring is just a bit different. And so I think that ultimately is, I think a lot of people end up using drugs because of that fact. It's not that they're like broken and miserable, and they, like I said, they're burying like you know, they got raped when they were a kid by their uncle. It's not that. It's that every day of the same thing is so difficult that they need something just to get through that day. I don't know if you can relate to that at all. Not like using, but like, do you ever find yourself, you're young still, so you still have this spunk about you where everything could be new and exciting, and your dreams haven't been mashed, hopefully.
Yeah.
You know what but and when you get to my age, you start to feel, especially I think for men, you start to feel like time's running out. I haven't done anything meaningful with my life, and I have to do something meaningful. But at the same time, you can't even seem to find the energy to get up and get dressed. And so it's this mind fuck that just, it's self-perpetual, and you just keep digging yourself further and further into a hole. And the shitty thing is, you feel like if everybody around me understood, if my family understood, if my wife understood, if my kids understood what I'm going through, but then you can't expect that of them because they might not be wired the same way. You know, they might be okay with doing the same job, doing everything the same every day. But for somebody like me, it's so difficult to, like when I lost my job, I got fired from Boise Cascade. There were days where once I got sober, I was doing my job like I had for 6 years. Once I got sober, the feeling of sitting there raking out the lathe, which only took 15 minutes maybe every day, was so overwhelming that I would go to my boss and say, I gotta go, I'm sick. I would just tell him whatever because I felt like I was just gonna like Hulk out and rip my fucking skin off, because that's how I physically felt. Like I wanted to rip my skin off and then just run naked down the street and just scream. And that ain't a normal feeling. So what do? You pop a pill, you take a drink, whatever your drug of choice is, and that feeling goes away. But then if you have to do that consistently, then you're fucked, because now you're an addict and you can't think, feel, or anything.
Yeah.
So go fuck yourself.